This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradley above at the top of the screen and everything that we're talking about here today. So we're going to cover a lot. We're going to cover the U.S. debt, which is now for the first time crossed over $27 trillion. Yep. Good morning, everybody. Yeah. Who brought the good news bear? Somebody get him some honey. Yeah. And we're going to cover that and so many other things, so stay with us. It all leads to a pretty heavy road here at the end. By the way, let's call the numbers. They're brought to you by Unstoppable Domains. I do want to tell you right now, as a point of confidence, look at some of these .com names that sold back in the day, and I think it helps give you a perspective because you guys are good at finding .cryptos, but I really want to help you, stay out of the trademark copyright world where you don't get jammed up that way. Business.com sold for $345 million. LasVegas.com sold for $90 million. Car insurance sold for $49.7 million. Insurance.com, $35.6 million. VacationRentals.com sold for $35 million. I don't mind telling you that I own VacationBeachRentals.crypto. PrivateJets.com sold for $30.1 million. I don't mind telling you that the Privé Jet company, I own that, and PrivéJets.crypto. Voice.com, $30 million. Internet.com, $18 million, so on and so on. Insure.com, $16 million. You know, the big point here that I want to give everybody is when you're looking at this stuff and you're working through it, think of categories, think of areas of industry that you can focus on. And, I've actually used like the travel industry, there's insurance industry, business, unsurprisingly, pornographic website stuff, sex.com sold for $13 million back in the day. Sex.crypto sold for $90,000 in this day, right? So pretty interesting stuff. And I just wanted to kind of show people that so they could kind of have a focus, maybe recenter about how you go about it. I also have been going after a lot of blog stuff. So I've gotten some really great blog stuff. I own Doggy Blog, Cat Blog, Pet Blog, .crypto. I mean, I think those are fantastic and somebody will really have some use for them in the future. So there it is. Unstoppable Domains, guys. Let's go ahead and get to the numbers right here. Bitcoin is $10,544.82. Ethereum is $346.73. XRP is 23 cents. Drilling down on the XRP numbers, 0.2340. Market cap is 10.5 billion plus. The 24-hour is up 1.6%. The 24-hour volume is 1.2 billion, and the total circulating supply right now is 45,162,000,000. Those are your numbers. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. So right here, Michael Val 5link says, now that the laws are passed and charter is issued, it is up to Wyoming Banking Division regulators to begin the first ever crypto bank examination. Why does this feel like the custom agent pulling you back in the side room and there's just a box of gloves there? I don't know. But welcome to the party, Kraken. Anyway, this is what progress looks like. You know what I mean? I hope they do well. Okay. So moving on, let me tell you what else progress looks like. BitMEX. Lucy, you got some splaining to do. BitMEX sees largest single-hour Bitcoin outflows ever following CFTC charges. Woo, hot potato. Hot potato. Yeah, BitMEX got a lot of splaining to do there. It does sound like they got some real trouble ahead. We'll see how that shakes out, but I know he's been, the owner of that platform, I believe it is, has been quite vocal about his position right here currently. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what falls of that. But you know what? This space has got to get cleaned up. If you want to bring all the convergence of the traditional markets and everything that we talk about every day, we can't have bad actors or anything going around here doing the wrong stuff. So there is a new heightened potential for a legitimate marketplace. You either rise up to the occasion or you get on the train and get out of town. Here we go. So moving on, speaking about getting on the train, Coinbase is handing over customer data to the British Tax Authority, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, HMRC. The measure affects customers with a UK address who received more than 5,000 or it's $6,450 worth of cryptocurrency during 2019-2020 tax year. Well, if you're in the United States, don't get so excited because you're like, whoo, thank goodness that was the UK. Coinbase already dimed us out in 2017 or 2018 when the IRS came to them and said, hey, you got millions of users and only 800 people file crypto on their taxes. We need to see the records. And Coinbase did the same thing there and gave it to them. I think the larger narrative here is especially for the maximalists out here in the cryptocurrency world, whether you be Bitcoin or some other a privacy token, you know what I mean, where you're like, nobody's going to see my stuff and it's anti-bank and anti-establishment. Yeah, well, you bought it at a centralized exchange, so they dimed you out. I would go ahead and check the right box if you bought crypto at the very least. All right, moving on. Crypto exchange Coinbase has announced that it is now offering instant withdrawals in almost 40 countries, including the US, UK, and member countries of the European Union. And you know why I think that is? Because they dimed you out and turned their information over to the respective authorities in those areas. Yeah, that's how it goes. You want to play along? You play along. If you don't, maybe it turns out being like a BitMEX thing. I don't know. Anyway, tokenization thereafter empowers companies in the ability to price, track, and transact in their net zero performance, both achieve their objectives in a credible manner, but also the ability to collateralize and secure forward any number. The XRP Ledger blockchain energizes decarbonization, but tokenization is a challenge. Now, of course, because everybody at this point needs to be able to tokenize what they have, right? This is what really the larger picture when I see this is we're talking about mass adoption. You know, we have talked about security tokens for a long time becoming the larger part of this space. Yeah, don't believe it. It's still true. Any asset of value that can be tokenized and placed on the ledger. It's much larger than this crypto token space we're talking about right now. Every commercial real estate business, which we already see Barry Monet doing with Reno.io. He's already out there getting it done. Shout out to Barry. You know, this is important to understand that this is, I mean, this is not going backwards. This is the new financial world. This is the new internet of value. This is the new financial system. And this is what it looks like when it starts taking off. Remember, we just got the no action letter last Friday from the SEC that they would not pursue any action against security tokens or alternative trading systems dealing with them, as long as they meet the requirements, right? So that is very exciting because I believe will become the larger part of this space has just been given a huge green light. So with that in mind, let's keep moving because we're screwed. Thank you, Michael Val 5 Links. You know, it really does say it about as quickly as you can say it. The debt of the federal government topped $27 trillion for the first time on Thursday, October 1st, when it climbed from an opening balance of $26 trillion to now over $27 trillion. Okay, it's a very deep hole. It's a very deep hole. That's all I can tell you. There isn't a rope long enough to get you out of it. I think you're going to need a lot of different solutions from a lot of different places to be able to solve this problem. One of the things I think you need to do is introduce a new commodity and or money, and to be able to ignite the world with the velocity of that new money and begin to bring the world out of this situation. That's why I believe in the early days there was an accelerator program to incentivize many different areas of industry, whether it be banking, finance, or other areas where companies and businesses can bring utility to a new network. And in doing so, they can help to participate in a new system that can drive the price of the token that can be represented through a reflection of the collateralized goods on that ledger. I'm talking about the price of XRP. Absolutely I am. And that could be done with cash. It could be done with commodities. It could be done with real estate. All the tokenization, it's about putting anything of any asset of value tokenized and represented on the ledger. Well, interestingly enough, we have to take this conversation to the petrodollar. We've had constant conversations on the channel about the global reserve currency of the dollar. I don't think the dollar will go away. I don't think anybody's dollars will go away greatly. The idea of XRP is to sit as a global supplement to trade. So whether that is a direct settlement through XRP or whether they create a stable coin off of it to settle all these things back in. We're talking about derivatives. We're talking about fiat to fiat, which would be a stable coin or CBDC, right? So, which is either a private company representation of that dollar or a CBDC directly released by a central bank. So, and then we're talking about anything else that's tokenized, okay? But the reality is if you remember, now that we're $27 trillion here in the U.S. here, you remember when oil spiked, actually spiked downward and went to 37 negative or almost $40 negative a barrel? And at the first time in the history of oil, it went from being an asset to a liability because it was costing you around $40 to give it away, a barrel. Not taking and receiving it, giving it away, because it became a liability because of the deliberate shutdown of the economy, which at that point had people's reserves of oil becoming a liability to hold them because they weren't using them up in the same level of production before the shutdown. Interestingly enough, it made me wonder, because we're going to talk about some things with Ripple and the new patents here in a second. But let's talk about oil for a second, because oil is used all over the world by everyone. And right now, you currently use the US dollar as the petrodollar to buy oil priced in dollars and the whole bit. So let's take a look at this. So how much oil is consumed in the United States or across, not the United States, but the world? How many barrels of oil are used per year? Well, according to 2016, there were 35,442,913,090 barrels of oil at the year of 2016, and that works out to about 97 million barrels a day when things are firing on all cylinders. Okay? Well, you remember last April, we had oil slam down negative. Well, I wanted to show you here, Exxon and Chevron have been sidelining Permian drilling equipment since the market started crashing in March, and April's where we had the real big spike down. U.S. crude prices had plunged nearly 70% at the time, year to under $20, which went all the way down to almost 40, and trading negative territory on April 20th for the first time ever. For the first time ever. Now, do you not see from the 27 trillion and the first time ever that oil went negative? And by the way, I don't mind telling you the current price of oil right now is $40 for WTI, Western Texas, or Brent crude at $42 a barrel. Now, here's the problem with that. It may need a price recovery, and analytics at RBC Capital Markets praised Exxon for strong first quarter, but noted it's $75 a barrel. Break-even oil price was much higher than the average $50 barrel among its peers. So what that is saying to you is that, generally speaking, most companies need $50 a barrel to break even. But Exxon is sitting at a spot where they actually need $75 a barrel to break even. Well, we haven't had that now, have we? So the real problem here is getting back to it, is that the price right now is $40 to $42. They're still upside down. And you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that, now do you? Which brings us to this little piece of news. Shout out to Mr. C, who believes that XRP will be $7,200 by 2023. Ripple has won a patent for smart contract design, would allow derivatives to settle based on external data such as temperature. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at some of this, because this is quite interesting here. Blockchain payments technology firm Ripple has won a patent for design that could execute smart contracts based on data collection from the outside world. Listen to this. This is very exciting. Earlier this week, Ripple Labs received a patent from a smart contract that can use oracles to connect a distributed platform to a variety of different real-world data. Originally filed on June 2018, one example of a use case provided includes using smart contracts to automatically settle options contracts when pre-agreed conditions are met, such as companies' debt-to-equity ratio hitting a certain threshold. Now, that's exciting in itself. Another example for the oil industry is feeding data on a density of specific crude oil shipment to help a smart contract determine whether to make a trade. Are you kidding? Imagine what this could do if they could have like a, Codius smart contracts platform, and what this would mean in the savings that you obviously see from the numbers we saw here, that the largest oil producers in the world could certainly take any kind of savings in streamlining the process for themselves and cutting this down to a profitable game again. All right, so here we go. So looking at this, the smart contracts are mostly associated with Ethereum, but other large blockchains are looking to add similar capabilities. Earlier this year, derivatives exchange BitMEX, who's got some explaining to do, which is now facing legal troubles, awarded $50,000 grant at Bitcore contributor to develop Bitcoin smart contract. One of the two authors of the patents, Ripple's former CTO, Stephen Thomas, previously revived a defunct project called Codius, one working to bring smart contracts to Ripple into a new startup, Coil, while patent indicates that the time and effort going into a rough draft of, in this case, a new smart contract-based derivative, it doesn't necessarily mean that Ripple has any active plans to move ahead with development. CoinDesk reached out to Ripple for comment, but hadn't received a response by press time. And that's okay. But you know what? The patent is there. And I believe the writing is on the wall. And knowing that the SEC has given the green light for security tokens, we're talking about everything being tokenized now at this point. I don't see that we're too far, especially in the position that the massive conglomerate oil producers of the world are in. They need an advantage. They need, and believe me, I don't think for an instant that Ripple hasn't already had these conversations, because here's another little side note that I think is interesting. Did you know Chris Larson used to work at Chevron? Come on in. Yep. Okay. And then I look at this and say, with $27 trillion in debt, the potential that Ripple is moving forward with, the ability to make smart contracts and settle back in the derivatives market and even oil markets, commodities, things of that nature. I start looking at the pieces that we've put out in this diagram with the help of a community member, putting some of these extra little touches on it. And I start saying, well, maybe there's your recommendation for a central bank settlement from the World Economic Forum, or FSOC recommendation for RippleNet to be systemically important financial market utility, or any of the other things we've seen here, like the Security Exchange issuing a no action letter for security tokens. Pretty remarkable stuff going on here. And by the way, with that in mind, there was also some movement on the class action suit as well. I can't determine. Some people are saying it's headed to trial for one part of the motion to dismiss. I can't tell. I do remember the judge saying at one point that she was going to make a decision from the bench, so it didn't have to go to trial. I'm not so sure at this point where it actually is, but there has been some motion on it. If anybody is able to help bring a little more clarity in that area, because you have some expertise in the law field, please do that for all of us in the comment section below, and I'll make sure to share the information as well. But this is where we're at, and I really do believe, when you look at the positioning that the regulatory bodies and the government's international bodies have been making collectively around this world, I believe it really does come down to this. All the money. And here it is. Oil, supply chains, trade, the fiat. You know the drill here. The reason I show this picture is because it's their mantra, not mine. And with that, I have to say to you, let's go ahead and take a look at something that is my mantra and Dustin Plantholt's mantra and Mike Jansen's mantra. It's the newest trailer right here from Cryptonaires, which is in post-production, and it has been for a while, but we have to remember Mike Jansen is helping us get this done outside of his regular job, and he works so hard, and we're so grateful for everything that he's doing. And we are on the final leg of this thing, but I tell you, we work with one mantra in mind for us, and the best way to not be denied in this world is to be undeniable. We won't stop until we bring you a great film. Check out this trailer.
Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. What are they? And what is this emerging marketplace that has been gaining a foothold for over the last decade?
Life becomes so amazing because you realize that all the rules in life can be rewritten. All the systems around us were built by people no smarter than us. Everything that we have, we inherited. And we inherited from people who had significantly less than we do in terms of technology and information and so forth. So there's really no reason our lives should be governed this way and controlled this way. So the primary motivation is saying, how much can we change the system?
Some people believe it is the next .com era, the new age of the Internet of Value.
This is just like the internet in 1980s. So you definitely need to get on the shape right now.
The Libra moment, at the very least, really forced people to grapple with the incoming future of financial technology and the fact that there are growing capabilities to create different kinds of market infrastructures that allow for new ways to view not just how we move money, but to redefine what money is.
And has captivated the financial markets and big thinkers like nothing we have ever witnessed or like never before.
It's exciting. I think a lot of real world projects are now wanting to come to list. When I say real world, like boring existing companies, not crypto companies that now want to have tokens. Boring bank or a boring property development company that people have heard of that are publicly listed companies come and say, we want to list our utility token and we're now going to start to offer these to our clients and we'd like to list with you because you're a clean, regulated exchange. I think that's really interesting, and that's, I think, where you're going to see the market start to go.
Lived a life where I've never been able to turn off my brain. So for me to find an industry that welcomes it, I'm living exactly what I wanted to do. I've had enough careers where they said, go home, Coley, get a life. And this is my life. I am excited for this. So,
a chance to create generational wealth beyond our dreams. Join us as we take you through a journey of what was once like the Wild Wild West. Turbulent and unpredictable, but now intriguing and credible. Of what is quickly becoming a legitimate marketplace for investors of all kinds, from Wall Street to Main Street. There is but one question you have to ask. Who wants to be a Cryptonaire?
All right, guys, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and share with somebody you know. I'll catch all of you on the next one.